What's up, everybody? For you, it probably hasn't been a while since the last episode, but for me, it's been about 2 weeks since I've flown the helicopter, the Solo. Actually, last week I was out flying the T-38, getting requalified in that. I may do an episode just on the differences, but the biggest thing was, it was interesting how much I tried to put left pedal in the T-38 where it didn't need it. So I have done a little bit of DCS with the ProFlight Puma trainer. Trying to get back into things, so hopefully that helps. But today the plan is, I think Lester's going to jump in. We're going to do a pattern or two just to get the feel of it. Then it should be a solo, unless it goes horribly wrong with Lester and he decides that it's not safe, and in which case it's going to be you know, a dual lesson. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully get a little bit more solo time today. What's it been, 2 weeks?
Yeah, you tell me. Today is the 4th.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Solo was on a Thursday? I don't know, man. Days start to blend together after a while. Fortunately, I tried something new with the media mod and the GoPro HERO 8 and plugging the comms directly into that instead of the adapter that I usually do. But that did not work. So none of the audio that you usually get for ATC recorded. So today, I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover and explain kind of what was going on, what I was thinking. Obviously here, two-stage pull-up and then over the grass, just getting used to that. Lester's guarding the controls, but he's really off the controls for the most part. His feet aren't even on the pedals. And it had been 2 weeks, as I talked about in the opening, since I had flown, so it was just a matter of getting the feel, making sure that I was still thinking in helicopter, because it is very different. Your brain has to be wired for that. So I started out, we went to taxiway Echo, did a couple of pedal turns just to get the pedal work and practice, and also for clearing. And then the plan was to go out and do multiple patterns with Lester in the passenger seat there. Winds were pretty much out of the west. There was some confusion. They wanted us to fly left traffic, which was counterflow, because they were north flow. Winds were out of the west slightly, so basically we were opposite direction from traffic on base to 3-6 right. So they said, hey, make left traffic. We're sure you want left traffic. And then we basically, after a little bit of negotiating with Tower, they said, yeah, it's probably better if you make right traffic, which we agreed. So I said, hey, look, next pattern will be right traffic. Three Gs, top of T, WCs are out. Clear, clear, clear. Fuel's good for about an hour and a half, in case you're wondering what Lester said there. Terry's pointing out that the instrumentation's working and things are back to normal. I don't know why he's wagging his finger, but really miss a lot without the comms. But at this point, do the first pattern to the pad, and now he's telling me for the future, we're actually going to be landing on the sidewalk. And the reason for that is just to narrow the targeted landing area. He even talks about, you know, it's like shooting, aim small, miss small. And so, you know, if I ever have to land on a trailer or something like that, it's good to practice. So he wanted me to kind of practice landing on a much smaller surface, and that's one of the new things that he introduced on this lesson. Wasn't much traffic, but there was some traffic out there, and they weren't keeping us east of 36 right like they usually do, so we're just making sure that there's no traffic in the area, heading out to the seawall before making our turn. G's top of TWCs are out. Clear, clear, clear. Feels good for about an hour. Carb heat's good. And here's Lester's talking about making the approach and what considerations you have landing on a smaller surface area. A lot of it is mental. And it wasn't too bad. And here's Lester telling me that it's all in your head. That once you're told you have to land on a trailer or something smaller, you kind of freak yourself out, even though it's really the same as what you've always been doing. And then from here, I felt comfortable enough, and Lester asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, well, it's time to go solo again. So we'll take off, do kind of a hybrid pattern, and then fly right back to Echo, just to challenge ourselves, you know, for landing kind of downwind. Biggest thing being loss of tail rotor effectiveness. Being careful about that. He actually asked me if I wanted to align it with the taxiway or not, and I actually decided to try turning it around myself. Now, it's not as bad when you're on the taxiway, so I didn't have to back up kind of in between the buildings, but he's guarding the controls, but this time it's pretty much all me making it happen, which I was pretty happy with, being able to spin it around and get it back into the wind and set it down. Here Lester's explaining which frequencies we'll be on, using the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as kind of a backup radio, and which radio to use. Didn't show it, but he got out and put one of the dumbbells back in just for the counterweight. And then I was off to do my solo patterns again, which the first thing I always notice on these solos is how much better the helicopter performs. You know, it's excess power is good. It's nice to be able to, you know, hover at 20 inches versus almost redlining and have that extra power available, and you know, everything works better. It just seems to fly. It's a much better machine. And I'm talking to you guys on this, but you can't hear me. But there's traffic out in the area, and that'll be a factor here on some of these patterns. I will choose to delay on the pad just to be, just to get more practice, just to be safe, just to stay out of the way. And I don't initially opt to land on the sidewalk. Being solo, I'm choosing a more conservative route of going to the pad, and then later on I will do some practice flights into the triangle there. Sorry, into the sidewalk. But patterns felt good. I think one of my trend items was getting a little bit more of a sync rate at the end game than I would have liked. I'd rather be, you know, closer to that 300. I mean, I had forward movement, but I'd still much rather have it be more controlled. So slowing down a little bit earlier and make it a smoother approach, so I'm not having to swap ends there at the end and pull a bunch of power. And I decided to fold down, land, wait for traffic. We were a little bit of a deconfliction issue, but not too bad, but land it, because one of the things I like to practice, because it's kind of a challenge for me, is the two-stage pull-up. So getting used to that and working on that, and then hovering while waiting. One of the things I'll also do is just work on my pedal work on flying sideways, work on clearing turns, pedal turns, stuff like that while I'm waiting for traffic, because there's no reason I can't get good training out of it. That'll happen a little bit more later, but even here I'm doing just a little bit while I'm waiting, just to be more comfortable with the helicopter. Here doing a little bit of a steep approach, or a steep approach to the sidewalk. So this will be my first attempt at landing on the sidewalk and picking a spot that'll be suitable for what we're doing. Tried to switch up the camera angle so you could kind of see where the skids are touching down in the area. And not too bad. I mean, I put it where I thought I should. Like I talked about, just getting some pedal work, practicing, looking, there's final. Bring it all the way around just to practice. Sideways flight. Just along the sidewalk, and then we're off to the races. On this one, I was more comfortable, getting a lot more practice, had some traffic I needed to wait for, so again, just doing some more pedal work and just practicing various pedal turns and stuff like that, and then following that approach, I came back for another to the pad this time. Then after waiting for traffic, took off, did some more sideways flight, because sideways flight to me is one of the more challenging things. You know, looking ahead, looking to the right, looking ahead, looking to the right, making sure you're not going to roll over, you got enough altitude. With this camera and the fisheye, it looks a little closer to the ground than it really was, but I just wanted to practice it and get more comfortable with flying that. So I didn't want to go all the way to the taxiway or anything, but just using it as a transition, and then transition to normal flight. All right, so that's the second solo. As you can see, Lester jumped in with me and did a couple patterns with me, make sure I was okay, no issues, very comfortable. And then I was off to the races going solo. I thought it went really well. There were a couple of things I needed to work on. You know, just timing, you know, the power pull and all that stuff. Did better on the other ones, did some pedal turns. I thought the pedal work was a little bit better. You know, getting more comfortable, sideways flight and or lateral flight or whatever you call it, as well as doing the just pedal turns and clearing turns and all that stuff. And I think it's easier without, you know, the weight in the aircraft. It's got so much more power and everything. So did that. I knew the camera was going to die, and it did. So I don't know at what point, but probably towards the end. Taxied in. I wanted to do a full taxi just to get practice. There was, I mean, I could have gone straight there, but I just wanted to practice it. And then a little bit of LTE with the tailwind and stuff, but had it under control. It's just you got to stay on top of the pedals, just like Lester said. So he was on the radio telling me, make sure you get the pedals in. And then that's it. So the next one should be 100% solo, and then that'll do it for this week. Next week, which will be this week, is like Spaceballs. Here is now, now is then. Next week, I'm back to T-38 flying, and then the next week, I'm gonna start doing more frequent, like 3 flights the next week. And then the next week will be hitting it hard, trying to do all the check ride prep and all that stuff, because my check ride will be coming up. So a lot of stuff going on, really enjoying the helicopter stuff. I want to thank pro flight trainer Puma. I think that helped me. I really do. I did some work last night, or sorry, 2 nights ago, DCS. You guys watch it, twitch.tv/movermedia. I'm going to do some X-Plane stuff, but I really think it's helping, and it got me back in that helicopter mindset prior to actually going in the helicopter. So I really think it was a good training aid, and I think it really helped. And I'll do a video, if I haven't already, by the time this airs, I will do a video just talking about my setup and everything. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.